3 words to describe my sculptures: simple, precise, with a tap of precariousness. Since I was young, I always liked to play a lot of Legos. I always liked to deconstruct a lot of wooden foam boards and things like that. And I always don't follow the blueprint to make my work or do my toys. My sculptures use a lot of geometrical forms and shapes to represent the ideas of a journey. I have always traveled from Hong Kong to Australia and Australia back to Hong Kong. And this sense of journey has really influenced in the way how I construct my forms. I see my forms, they are tunnel forms or bridges that links different things together. And through a combination of different tunnel forms or open spaces, they are the devices that connect to different people and different places together. Metal is a very honest material. It is a material that leaves a lot of evidence and a mark on itself. And that sort of goes with how I treat the material, how I go with the material. And I think to a certain extent, that is a person who I am myself as well. My personality is very straightforward. It's very honest. I love to interact with people. That it is what it is, and that's what it is. Clement Meadmore. What he has inspired me is he talks about the differences between a sculpture, a building, and a tree. The sculpture, when it meets the ground, it needs to be different. It can't be it's very heavy. There needs to be a way that is anchored, a way it needs to be very light. And that has inspired me in my sculpture to be very precarious. It's very hard to find the balancing point. I think it's very important for an artist to have his own particular style. For myself, it's very abstracted modular sculpture. And I think it's very important for it to be persistent, to be in sync with what I've done previously. So I'm developing a journey, I'm developing a whole series of sculpture for people to experience. With a lot of my work, I put a lot of time into grinding and welding my work to perfection. And that is something that the audience sometimes might not take notice of. They'll think that my work is bended, but it's actually they're welded plate by plate on top, where the corners are welded and grinded to precise and cleanness. I've actually used a very heavily contrasting colors, for example, a gray and an orange. If they were to represent two different persons, maybe one person is a very calm person, is a very easygoing person. The orange might represent a person that is very passionate, has a lot of energy in it. And the way how to go together in my work, I love them to be in harmony. I don't want them to be in conflict with each other. And I think that's what my subtlest, my simple work should be about, living in harmony. And I think, people as a whole should be living in that way as well. With my three-dimensional sculpture, there is not a particular way of viewing it. I'll always consider on the idea that every single angle is different. If one angle is exactly the same with the other one, why would one to travel on the other side? I've used a lot of abstract form in my work because I love the way how it is open-ended, so to speak. I love the way how I'm leaving the audience the room and the space to think about what they are. I might have a concept of what they represent, but I also want the audience to participate and be a part of that artwork. So what I'm trying to do is to create this tri-relationship between myself as an artist, the sculpture, and also the audience. And that's what it should be. Art is about sharing to people. Art is about not only about my journey, but it's also other people's journey.